Hello, everyone. Welcome to the May Kubernetes Steering Committee public meeting. I am Paris. I am the hostess with the mostest. And today we are going to have a full schedule, full agenda. I'm sorry. We're going to start off with some CNCF updates. We've got some funding requests in the queue that we need to help out with. We have some voting. Bob's going to throw a PR up there for us to vote on. And then, of course, we have the lovely annual report summary that we need to walk through and assign things so we can try to ship that ASAP. So that's the agenda summary today. And if any community folks would like to assign their name to the agenda or add a topic to the bottom, feel free. Let me actually write a little topic bank for you so it can be welcoming topics for community. All right. So first things first, we do have some CNCF updates. I am starting on our governing board resolutions this week for all of our legal requests, the membership tiers, and more. Y'all will see those when we get those ready. And then I'm going to actually skip to the open-ended question. Are we good for KubeCon? We asked this last time, but we did end up having some loose ends. Last call for anything loose ends. Are we good with KubeCon? I see thumbs up. I think we're good, but I just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, loose ends are good with KubeCon. That brings us to the last CNCF update that we have on the agenda, which is, are we good with what's in this DNO insurance comment? I think Stephen, and please tell me if I'm not accurate. I think you have some open-ended questions, and Priyanka said that she would get back to us. Is that correct?
Right. We're waiting for lawyer people to come in with official guidance. I think we've got some boilerplate stuff, but it would be helpful for people who do not speak legalese to understand where the boundaries are around volunteers and members of various committees. Primarily because Kubernetes is not a thing in the legal sense, right? So just getting some clarity around that for volunteers.
And then once we do have that clarity, say that clarity comes in today and everybody's all great with it, everybody's good, where does this live? That was the next question that I had for us. Like, do we want to put this in governance MD? Do we want to put this in like all three of our committees, like READMEs? Like, where do we want this artifact to go? So that would ultimately close all these issues.
So let's deduplicate the information as much as possible. Governance MD sounds like a good place to start, and then from there we link out for each of the committee repos or READMEs.
And Bob, I saw you shake a head. Do you agree with that as well?
Yeah, duping across multiple places just sounds like something's going to get out of date faster. So if it ends up being in governance, in one of the governance docs, that's great.
Okay. I think the only place that committees live in governance is governance.md. So that's why I put it there and not SIG's governance and stuff like that. And Tim, I see a shaked head as well. So sounds like we're all good there. So once we get the clarification, then we'll put some type of copy in governance MD for us to vote on and close these issues.
I think it's also important to specify like who this may not apply to. If we're saying that like it is only committees or something like that, like once we get the guidance, plus making it very explicit within our repos about who this does and doesn't apply to.
And then Jordan, do you have anything?
I was just going to ask if we had a date or a reminder if this doesn't get pinged by the legal folks to, like, I don't know if we want to do that before or after KubeCon or like at some point, but I just don't want to get forgotten if it never gets applied. So.
I do think it'll be after KubeCon at this point.
Okay.
All right. So May, January, our first June meeting. Let's hopefully have this wrapped up. Maybe.
Ping it after KubeCon.
Yeah.
If you haven't gotten a reply.
Yeah, exactly.
Then re-raise it.
All
Okay.
right. last call for DNO alcohol. All right, great. All right, anything else from CNCF land that folks want to either update on, give an update about, anything like that? All right. Oh, dang, Bob. Bob's pull request skills are just like quick draw McGraw right there.
Eddie has his hand up.
That's what I'm talking. Oh, hey, Eddie. Sorry about that.
Hello, that's
Hey.
okay. I'm coming to you from PyCon. I wanted to ask about the GB resolutions that you're working on. Specifically, one of the things that I think you and I talked about at one point was proposing there be requirements for full-time engineers staffing CNCF projects for companies that are members and sponsoring and have seats on the governing board.
Yep, that's one of the proposals. One of the proposals will be the addition of maintainers with the platinum tier, and then some type of discount according to the size of your company and the maintainers that you're staffing and things along those lines. So yes, and would love to have your eyes on that and plan on asking you for your review.
Awesome,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Last call for CNCF stuff. All right. And then let's go ahead and move to the vote. The next thing that we have on our agenda is SIG Service Catalog Archive. And thanks, Bob, for standing up that PR. Does anybody have questions for Bob about the SIG Service Catalog Archive?
So I'll make one comment quick since I said it before the recording started. Cloud Foundry is potentially interested in taking over the sub-projects. However, they would go off a fork that we create when the sub-projects themselves are archived. A couple users chimed in, but it isn't enough to actually keep it around. And I think Cloud Foundry is a better home for this stuff as the primary user of it all.
Will you do me a favor and put that in the body of the PR messaging where you say hold for steering review, just so that we have some kind of remembrance of that combo that you had with them?
Yep, I will put it in there.
And also, if you have any links to like the previous discussions here or on the mailing list, just any context would be super useful.
Yep, I will put everything in the parent issue. I just wanted to get the PR out before so we could vote on it here.
I don't know. I insist on a fully fleshed out PR in 30 seconds.
Look, Bob's good, but
Let me just slow down time.
All right. Any other questions for Bob?
No questions, +1 to the PR. I've dropped my vote on it as well.
I also did as well. No pressure for steering members that are looking for more information, aka Jordan. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
There. I want the information for other people who see the PR.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right.
Welcome, Christoph.
Christoph, we did just review the SIG Service Catalog Archive PR that Bob did. Do you have any questions about that? Obviously, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we can always go back to it as well.
I'll take a look at it now, but nothing that came off the top of my head when I saw it come through.
Yeah.
All right.
Mostly just asking to link to context in the description for the rationale and the future plans for the artifacts.
I will take care of that after this call. Actually, after my next meeting.
All right. So now we move down to the funding section. We have one for Apple Dev account. We have another that's an extremely old Alibaba credits one. Like, so what do we do with it? And then we also have a SIG Windows contractor request as well. They did flesh out some things on the issue with Chris as far as intern versus contractor, etc. So let's just go through the first one with Apple Dev account.
Sure. Do we have anyone who is interested in that is here on the call?
I don't believe so. I don't think we
Okay.
invited them either.
Yeah, we probably
Okay,
did.
so
Yeah,
so my and I'll leave this on the issue as well. I guess my concern would be creating if we create a developer account, I want it to be able to, or if there is the sense of a developer scope team for Kubernetes, so it can be used for multiple people. I don't want it to just be for Minikube. Also, is this a thing that we need to do? Because like brew install Minikube works fine without having to go through some of this stuff. So if is this specific to like the GUI, what components are we getting that we wouldn't be getting from, say, using brew?
To follow up with that, it would have to be an individual and not a team.
Gotcha.
That is the Apple requirements. And we also do not qualify for the nonprofit status. So pretty much our only use case right now is, or excuse me, the only implementation case is through an individual that CNCF has said that they would be happy to reimburse, but that does impose risks. So I was looking forward to talking about the risks. So you feel like that's extremely risky for us to do.
Absolutely, yeah. And signing off on this opens the door for any person who's looking at signing binaries in the project to want to do it as well. So before we do any approval of this, I do want to go over the risks.
I have a question. Paris, the restriction on, like, I understand we don't qualify for the nonprofit based on the CNCF status. Is that also tied in with why we can't have a team account? Like, I'm wondering if there's details on like why we wouldn't qualify necessarily for a team-based account, even if we had to pay full price for it.
I thought that was not possible with Apple's current policy. I don't know. I can look into it more. But according to documents and folks internally are saying that it has to be on one person's machine, on one individual's machine.
Yeah, from the ideally the release process is running unattended in some pipeline. So yeah, that's yet another risk, like having one individual with access to this that has to run on their machine. Doesn't sound like the move. So I'll dig in a little bit as well, but I'm +1 if we can do it in an unattended way, where multiple people have access to, and -1 if it can only be an individual.
All right, well, you are official. I mean, you've been the assignee on this.
I'm assigned on it, yeah.
All right, so steering is not doing anything with this until you come back to us. Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Anybody else with anything for this? All right. Woo. We're really going through right now. All right. So SIG Windows, I put placeholder here, but Jay has gotten back on the issue as of this morning, and it sounds like they do need someone with Kubernetes experience and not an intern. Chris had asked them on the issue if this would be cool with an intern. But now it's would the intern have Kubernetes experience? And I think based off of the scope that they've laid out for the project, it looks pretty damn intense for an intern for 3 months. So I feel like this might be a contractor request. Are there any steering members that disagree with this or have any other comments about this kind of a request? Bob?
So I would agree with the contractor request. The one potential ask might be a list of either contractors or candidates that might have the knowledge to be able to do this, if they are familiar with them. I know that there might be some conflicts in terms of, referring a friend or something like that. But I think we could, if they have a few people in mind or a few different groups that they know that are sealed already, that would help speed this up.
Others?
Can we get a steering member to as a signee? I forgot who the liaison for Windows is, but
I'm Windows, and I'm trying to remember who is network.
I'm network.
Okay, you can put me on there.
I'll sign you in. Okay. Oop, Paris is already on it. Thanks, Paris.
The main question I had talks about the project being well scoped, one engineer for 3 months. I just wanted to get a double check on that. Like 3 months is not even a full Kubernetes release. And so just wondering if that's a realistic scoping for this. Anyway, that seems pretty aggressive to me. I'm context free on this, but
Yep. And I thought that's why I immediately jumped to the fact that this is not an intern. Like for 3 months, like usually 3 months we're teaching interns Kubernetes. And then maybe another 3 months would be needed for the actual, you know what I mean, for the actual assignment itself. So that was what I was initially concerned about as well, in that kind of an ask.
Yeah. So it's not my desire or place to like dive into design docs or anything, but there's a link to kind of a repo, and I didn't see like a clear scope of work type of thing. So I just wanted to know.
I do have a doc, and it's not linked here. I'm going to link it.
All right.
Yeah, it's like a 4-page doc. So
okay.
Let me link to that too.
I was gonna suggest they put it together sort of in that form, like at the point when you would get a contractor, you'd be looking for like, here's exactly what we're looking for.
So different idea. Is it possible to have either one of these things essentially defund one of the current things that they're doing and assign that to someone else to hopefully get a more senior resource who has familiarity with these areas already to work on it?
I think they said, I know when I talked to them, they said that was not possible with current initiatives that were on their plate.
Gotcha.
I did include their doc too, by the way. It's in the it's on the issue itself and not the agenda. I'll put it on the agenda too, so we have it in both places. I think it's on the agenda from last go before we put it in an issue. Here, there we go. All right. So next steps, sounds like Jordan, you're going to talk to those folks, and then if it's a go, we're going to put in a service desk ticket.
Yeah, I see a lot of Windows folks on there. I'd like to kind of hear from some of the network folks as well, and just get a sense that like, yep, we're competent enough in this design. Like, we're not going to hire a contractor and then spend 2 of the 3 months like hammering through design questions.
Right.
All right. Yep. I'll reach out to Tim and Mark.
All right.
It's a quick thing that the doc link doesn't look much like it looks like it outlining the asks why it's needed and not necessarily like a full scope of work and timelines and like it's not a full design proposal. If they need to like really do this, it might take much more time than 3 months.
Yeah, I would almost suggest it be sort of at the implementable KEP phase. I'll talk with Tim and Mark. I just want to make sure that they understand what they need.
Yeah.
So the estimates are plausible.
I think this should be a high level thing for us, as far as like, I feel like these more requests like this are going to come in based on my conversations with other leads and chairs. And I wonder if like we should get our house in order too. So like Jordan, if you feel like that's like the best way, maybe we should do like a contractor cap, you know, or some other like staffing cap, if you will, where it like lays out the scope better for us and also, you know, potential contractors and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe we can take that as a discussion topic for later on.
I mean, if I think about what KEPs represent, it's like talking about why we want a thing and then specifically what we're going to do and what the timeline is and what the trade-offs are. Like in many ways, it's all the things you would want to be in a scope of work document. Like the fact that a contractor is doing it instead of a community contributor is sort of irrelevant, like in terms of scoping. So
yep. I think they do have caps on this too, though, y'all. Like, so I think it's just, they're just not well documented on this scope of work thing. I think it's, yeah. So I think that is the good news. I think they just need some help getting that framed together. So, all right. Let me get back to our agenda here. All right, and then we've got this ancient one for Alibaba funding for Minikube. What do we want to do with this? It's been open for forever, and I don't know if like we can't get a hold of Ali. I don't know. Like CNCF has tried to get a hold of Ali. CNCF says hold up, wait for cloud credits program like 40 times. What are we doing with this one? Like this is just an example of us asking for something and not getting it.
Yeah, I think we need to figure out who the next person to move this over to is, because Ehor is currently assigned to it. And I'm also assigned, so I will take that action.
All right. And so action here, you're going to take this and figure out who's the next best step. The last time I checked in on it with Chris A, he said, let's wait for the cloud credits program again after like the cloud credits program's already out. So I don't know what we're waiting for anymore.
Gotcha. I'll ping him.
Yep.
And maybe we just ask for like, okay, so what is the reasonable ETA? And you tell us, if we don't have a cloud credits program by that date, what is the date that we can just flip over to be like, no, we're just going to pay them and not worry about cloud credits.
Yeah.
Because I think we've waited for long enough, but like see what their reasonable date is of like, when can you commit to either having a cloud credits program or just paying it out of budget?
Sounds good.
All right. Anything left for funding conversations, or does anybody want to talk about anything that we've already talked about, voting or CNCF updates if you came in late? Last call. All right. So next topic is my favorite one. Just kidding. Annual report summary. What I wanted to do was I just wanted to walk us through what we have and start assigning people some of the emptiness and potentially getting this out the door ASAP. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me make sure I don't have anything wild up. Hold on. Oh, Christmas cakes. I think we're good here. All right. Share Safari. Okay. All right. So we've got our terminology. I added it this year. We've added owner/maintainer, contributor ladder, KEP, contributor snapshot. This year we've got number of contributors, number of new SIGs. I'm still working on emeritus. I'm running, getting someone to run us some scripts for that. The 2 just represents leaders that I could manually count. We had 1 new working group, 5 new chairs and tech leads, not doing mailing list members. We have 10 or less unique reviewers in 8 different groups. 8 people on average that are active meeting participants in each group, and 70,000 Slack members in SIG and working group rooms in Slack. Are there any other contributor snapshot related data points that you think we should add here?
Is the total contributor count contributors this year or all time?
Last? Yeah, last. It would be like what our total contributor number is for all time as of the following date.
Okay.
I'm also open to other things. If you think we should just do the year, talk to me.
I mean, having both seems interesting. Like contributors of all time and also contributors in the past year, if that's easy to get.
Yeah, let's see. We can pull that. Let's see if we can pull that. Anyone else have any snapshotty related stuff? The community milestones are also kind of snapshotty too.
Is that emeritus folks number right? As in
No, this is
Okay.
just leads. I'm getting someone to run a script for me to that's going to handle all donors files. So that's why it's much lower than it is. This is just me counting from SIG YAML changes. That was it. I was just manually counting SIG YAML folks.
Okay.
Yeah, should be much higher.
Would that be emeritus leads? And then a different one for emeritus owners files?
Sure.
I was assuming it was sort of the counterpart to the new chairs and PLs, like new folks coming in, folks rotating out.
Yeah, that's what I took that as, and that seems low.
Yeah.
Just
I
for
know.
leads, right?
There's only 2,
Is-
or at least that I counted. Check my math. Or at least how about, or at least the 2 that put it in SIG YAML changes. If there was another one, they didn't do it. They didn't change themselves out.
I know one that did not.
Yep. Separate stat and then. All right. I asked in enhancements, Kirsten is gonna try to pull something for community milestones, but most of this stuff has to do with features like stable graduations, CAPS reviewed. Jordan, I don't know if you can or want to, or have cycles to pull the API endpoints included in conformance, but all of this stuff was last year's. So we just need to freshen this up.
Yeah, I can update those. You want to just put my name there and I'll do that today.
Awesome. All right. And then accolades. So we've got a ton. And so what we need to do is A, trim them down, and B, make sure that everything that's in the accolade bank, which is all the way down here, right here, like all of this stuff either needs to be themed out or in an already established accolade above. And all of this stuff is extremely technical. So I don't know if one of y'all on the line can just go through the bank right now and tell me what the heck in here is good to pull out for accolades. Like Mark, net.ib FIFA. I'm like, holy crap.
One good call out, I'm looking at some of this might be on deprecations.
Yep. So let's start up at the top. So this is what we've got so far for accolades. We've got working groups, like we formed structured logging, and then also the data protection white paper came out, which was really good. And then the next accolade, we had feature maturity and stability, which goes and kind of talks about all of the stuff that we were proud of that went to GA, and then we've got like new leaders that have stepped up. We had a lot of new leaders in docs, a lot of new leaders in CLI. The next one is the Docker shim removal community effort. And then we've got like other things that are maturing with the project that aren't necessarily features. I don't know if we want to call it easy CLA, because I feel like that's current status terrible. So maybe we should actually just get rid of that. We also have like the fact that our security group has been doing a wonderful job educating the masses. We've had some donations to the project. We have a lot of people working hard on hardening the security supply chain. Got a lot of stuff for that. We also have things like removing things that don't give us joy, like the basil removal. Windows support that's maturing. So that's what we've got so far for accolades. So it's way too many. We should probably trim these down to 5, like 5 good ones. And like right now you can see that we've got a lot that are already like maturing themselves. So I feel like feature maturity and stability is a good one. Docker shim removal is a good one. And Eddie, I see your hand. Hold on one sec. Docker shim removal is a good one. And then I think the rest can be up for us to discuss. Eddie?
Yeah, these, how concerning should we make it out that these SIGs don't have reports too? Or like that in itself sounds like a issue. Is that a bandwidth issue? How many SIGs are in here and without a report? 3, 4?
Yep.
2 of those are coming in
5,
flight.
6.
Yep, I've got that down for us for a talking point, Eddie. I just want to get through this really quick first though.
Okay.
Yeah, I want us to get the summary off. Like that is the residual of the summary as far as I'm concerned. Anything that doesn't get us the summary out, I don't want to talk about it. So who wants to take the
Scott is-
accolade
Yeah.
section?
So one quick thing, Dr. Shim, most of that, at least the work has happened this year.
Okay, so we want to take off the Dr. Shim.
Yeah, I would take off Dr. Shim.
All right. Dr. Shim.
It's just a little bit higher.
Yeah.
That'll be a great one for next year.
Okay, I thought we started that work in December. That's why I put it on there.
We did technically kick it off last year, but the majority of work has happened this year.
All right. All right, who wants to take this accolade section and hit it home?
I'm chopping up bits of the bank and slashing. And
Yeah. All right, so let's go
Edit.
ahead. So next is themes and trends. And I did put trends after themes because I know a lot of people had questions about what it is to mean, like what a theme is. And these are commonalities that many or all groups have with the reports, or it's things that we've pulled out where we've said, huh, that's interesting. That's like what a trend is. We've got a lot here. We've got prioritizing quality, independent contributors still playing a critical role in the project, archiving, emeritusing, sunsetting, oh my, and contributor documentation is always an always need activity, and then burnout and workload management. We need, I think, a lot of help with this area. Jordan did the prioritizing quality one, so I think we're done there, or at least at a solid draft state. And then the rest need things. Anybody want to take some of these to shape up?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I think the one that needs the most help is burnout workload management, because we got nothing for that right now.
Ironic.
I know. Very ironic that this one is last. That's the like, also very ironic that we have missing reports. Like, yes, exactly. All right. And then I'll just take the rest then, whatever's left, and I'll hit the rest home. I also don't think that these need to be like huge paragraphs either. Like this is something that I think can be a few sentences and we're good. All right. And then that takes us to growth areas, which are areas of the project that we've identified as having a growth opportunity. So it doesn't necessarily need to be like, you know, mean or like, you know, something that is a detriment, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Or it could be a need that we really need to grow in. So we've got what's project health anyway. This stems from a bunch of our leads and chairs and things like that who've said like, I don't measure anything, and should I measure something, and I don't know what to measure. That's where that stems from. Every group needs more reviewers. But that actually might be like, I don't know, that might be the solution to the fact that our velocity is slowing down. I don't know if that's technically the growth area instead. And then last but not least, the 9 to 5 contributor is almost over and we have to adjust.
I left a comment on there. I'm not sure I understand the headline compared with the content. Where it
Which
says,
one, the last
active
one?
contributors tell you they work 80 to 100% upstream. That sounds like 9 to 5 contributors. I didn't understand the headline paired with that sentence.
Yeah, I think that it's a handful of our owners, meaning like 5.
Oh, only,
So
only a handful. I
yes,
see. Okay.
only, yeah, hold on. Only, yeah, hold on, let me write.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yes, no, I agree. See, this is why we need reviewers. Only.
And it feels anecdotally like that number, low as it is, it used to be higher. Like there's a
Yes, oh my
trajectory
gosh,
there. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, but the problem is we don't necessarily have any like data that's hard on that. We have like anecdotal data and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I have the owner survey that I just ran, but we only had about 40 responses out of 400. So
one thing I want to be careful about, there's some degree of editorializing here, which is, you know, unavoidable and fine. I do want to be careful about drawing conclusions that we can't like point to data for. So like, for example, the quality paragraph, I actually did go through and like sweep all of the backports that we've done for the past couple of years and made sure the ones we're addressing regressions were tagged with regressions. And then I could confidently say like, yes, backports for regressions were up for 122 and 123.
Yep.
So like, yeah, not to say that we shouldn't say this, but like the stronger we're going to say something, the more data we want to have to point to.
Yep. Yeah, I know. And this is like, this is not even written yet. So I feel like at its current state, it's weak at best just because there's no words there.
For what it's worth, you'll find the same thing in a lot of the like the help wanted and like current issues with people just talking about things without linking out to things. I've had to go digging and put a bunch of links where I can for a bunch of them.
All right. So anybody want to take some of these growth areas? All right, I'll try to hit them home then. All right, so then that takes us into the help wanted section, which luckily for us is populated with the exception of what Bob's saying, which is people just put that they needed help without linking to things. And it's just kind of at an old well state for this. So I feel like next time we do annual reports, we just need to not accept things that don't have links. So if they're saying that they need help for something, it's a link or they don't need help.
For I think I got through almost all the help wanted. I think I missed a couple SIGs. But this is, most of those links did not exist and I had to go digging for them.
And then same thing with initiatives. Luckily, we don't have to do anything here to say it's populated, but same things. A lot of these were not linked out properly or linked at all. Some of them even told us to get them ourselves, which I thought was lovely.
One other thing with a lot of the stuff copying over directly is there's a lot of all the sections have had to be rewritten to be in a similar, how they refer to what is we in the context of the report.
All right, so that's it. That's the end. So as you can see, we still have a lot to do, especially up at the top with getting this together. Ray with SigDocs is our editor. And Ray is also going to help us put words to paper here too, so that we can get this out ASAP, because we've already got stale stuff in here. So we need to get this out with the fire. But I think we're almost there. Does anybody see any major things that we need to do to the report, or add to the report, or take out of the report? Is there anything that's missing? Can you think back to last year? Anything that we're not mentioning that happened that was big last year that we should slot into some area, meaning whether it's an accolade, whether it's a theme, whether it's a growth area. All right. So who's my accolades person again? Jordan, is that you for the entire accolades?
I'm going through the bank now and trying to categorize and put it into words that.
Yep. I mean,
that Dig will be able to read and understand what they meant.
Yeah, and the other thing is we might not take them at all. So if you just want to erase it completely, if you're this is way too granular, or if you're I don't think that this is a good accolade for this kind of bubbling up at a high level.
I'm pruning.
Yeah.
Good enough.
The
big things or things that made a big impact, I think are useful to call it. Or if there's several small things that when you put them together, it's really moves the needle on something, then having that be one bullet point, I think is good.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So that brings us to the topics at hand, which are what Eddie brought up, which is we do have groups in here that don't have any reports. How should we reflect that on here? So for instance, one way to reflect that is hold on, let me give you an example. So for instance, here we go. So SIG node, in the help wanted section, I put no report just because that was helping me get through doing things, and I wasn't checking. But so option number one is we leave this as is with no report. Or option number two is we just completely remove node from this list. So for instance, we would just remove it from the list entirely.
Which section is this?
So this is for help wanted. So any SIG that doesn't have a report for the help wanted section or the initiative section, we can either say no report and report them in as a group, or we can just take them off entirely as some kind of area where we don't have a report. And then
I would take them off entirely and list it as a growth area or area that we need to look at in bolstering that SIG or group overall.
Okay. All right. Hold on one sec.
And I think for both of those, network and node right next to each other, while the report's coming, they don't currently have listed help wanted. So it's fair to drop them from the list, I guess. Yeah, the draft reports,
Yeah. Same for multi-tenancy, actually.
Yeah.
They have a draft report, but they don't have a help wanted. They said we actually have people working on the things we have right now. So
we actually have people that have not even opened up the PR for their report yet.
Yep. Infra is one.
Okay. Eddie?
Yep, so what to do with how to help groups.
Yeah, well, can we dig into why folks haven't done them, right? So I wrote 3 reports this year, right? Like, not in a tooting my own horn sense, but the 2 of them were SIGs that I was active with, that if someone didn't step up to do it, it wouldn't have gotten done, right? So the identification there is, you know, going back to everything, like we're weakening in our foundation of leadership and bandwidth. And so what are the other SIGs that haven't gotten them done? Are any of these SIGs that didn't do them last year as well? Do we have I'd like to dig into the why. Like, if we can get them to say why they weren't able to get to the reports, I feel like it might help.
Hearing?
So just to speak to the one that is on my plate, it was actually a leadership bandwidth issue, and they actually just brought in like several new folks to help lead that group. So, and I'm asking, literally in the background, asking them if they can help complete the annual report for the previous year, because they were involved. So that's the only data point I have, and I agree it is worth digging into. But in my case, like, they actually did make a change, so I'm happy to see that.
So next steering committee meeting, should we go over the groups that don't have reports and talk about how we can help them in the future and identify areas that we can assist? I know infra is one that did not do it the last time either. So we do have a group that has missed twice.
Sure, that sounds fun.
All right, so next I'm gonna put up at, I'll put on up at our future topics. How to help groups with no report. Sweet. All right. And then I think we have one more point here. Yeah, the other thing is like discrepancies, because we've got, for instance, UI who's not meeting and still not meeting, and they reported in last year that they're not meeting. So I feel like we either need to make our governance requirements current that would include them in that, or we need to write new governance that or get them to a point where they're meeting. There's a couple different discrepancies that are governance related that were brought up with some of the annual reports. So I'm going to put that on our agenda for next time too, which is how do we get current? And then anything else for annual reports? Anything else for the meeting today? All right, quiet group. It's always quiet when I do
Furiously editing Accolades. So
Yeah, half my brain's in Markdown right
y'all
now.
to work.
Well done, an effective meeting.
Tim, you won't work too? Christoph?
I'm in the doc, I'm editing things. I will continue
And
after we're off
anyone
the
else?
call.
Work. All right. Well, I guess have a great day and a month. Oh, private steering committee meeting we don't have, will be in KubeCon. And so, yeah, this is technically the last time we'll meet for this month. All right, go team, let's get the summary out. I never want to look at it ever again.
We got to improve this for next year.
Yeah, oh my gosh, actually that's a topic too. Hold up, I'm gonna put that down as well.
I mean, I forget who said it, but maybe it was you, Bob, talking about like translating sort of the form that people entered stuff in their individual reports, like copying and pasting it and then having to basically reword stuff. Like anything we can do to let us like just hoist a section, even if it's like prompting them in their report, like what do you want to put in the top level report? Like what's the 1 bullet point or 2 bullet points? Complete this sentence. Our SIG would like help by doing blah. Like Yeah.
Ad libs for annual reports. Love it.
Yeah, and can we maybe open the tracking placeholder issues early so people have a place to brain dump things as they come up, and then you can look back and summarize it, and we can share that with the rest of the leads.
Yep.
Sort of like the way we do the known issues tracking issue for the release, where it's like link things here and
Yeah.
emulate them later.
Yeah. One of the thing, like, I know we've talked on a little talked around about it a little bit, is like linking out more to the KEPs and just being able to auto populate like more of the sub projects and things like that in there. Just to try and remove some of the manual collection and linking a lot of this stuff.
We should just do a retro for us.
I think that would be good.
We did one for chairs and tech leads, but we should just do one for us. So next in June, we'll do a quick retro for the annual report, and then we could even like get interns and stuff to help us with the generators and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is it'd be great if like that's something that we could very easily scope and hand off to an intern to be like, hey, can you go and help us like make sure that the generator works with these things?
Oh my God, Mentor Christoph has such a good ring. Oh my God. Oh my God, Mentor Christoph. Oh.
We'll make it happen.
Anyway.
We'll make it happen.
All right, that's it for my roadshow. I take tips. Thanks. Have a great May, everybody, and I'll see you who I see in KubeCon, if not on the internet waves. Eddie, thank you for participating and also helping us with the 3 annual reports too. That is my public thank you to you.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you.
Here's all.
Later.
Y'all.
Later.